Logos. Today I'm going to teach you how to enhance your speech using logos. And I'm not talking about the symbols you see on a baseball cap or on the billboards of Times Square. I'm talking about something magical, something you cannot see but will leave your audience understanding your speech all the better. So here we go. Let's start with the concept of common sense. Common sense implies that further explanation isn't necessary. However, when using logos, we are actually opposed to what common sense is. So in our communications textbook, logos is defined as the use of logic to persuade an audience, but in opposition of common sense. So keep in mind that although we are straying away from common sense, we are still using logic. Allow me to explain. Under logic, there are two distinctions when using logos. First is deduction reasoning, and second is induction reasoning. So I'm going to start by explaining deduction reasoning. So in order to understand deduction reasoning, think of it as this. It's going from the big to the small. Take a look at the following statements. Statement number 1. All humans are mortal. This is something you can agree with. Statement number 2. Barack Obama is human. Based off of these two statements, we can conclude that, well then, Barack Obama is mortal. The takeaway here is that if you agree to the validity of the first statement, then you can't disagree with the conclusion because, well, you have already agreed to the first statement, no matter how bizarre the second statement might seem. So keep note of that. Now, induction reasoning is the opposite. It's going from the little to the big. So think of it this way. In induction reasoning, we are taking a look at different individual facts. Then we are noticing a pattern. Based off of that pattern, we can make a larger conclusion. So take a look at the following example. Let's say on Monday I go to work with a stain on my shirt. I mean, it happens sometimes, so people might overlook it. Then on Tuesday I go to work and, well, I've got another stain on my shirt. Yikes. Then on Wednesday I go to work and there's a stain on my pants. Now on Thursday I go to work and, oh thank God, there's no stain. Until I walk past you and there's a stain on the back of my shirt. Well, based on the individual facts, my coworkers will most likely conclude that I am unorganized, I'm messy, and overall big yikes, right? And although that may not be true, I may be an organized person and I might not be dirty as people seem. Because of this ongoing pattern of me going to work with dirty clothes, other people are inclined to believe so. So I've explained to you deduction reasoning and induction reasoning, which are two distinctions of logic. Now, within logic, there is another branch called causal logic. And with causal logic, there are two additional distinctions that fall under the logos method. So first, I'm going to start by explaining cause and effect. And cause and effect is pretty simple. With cause and effect, we understand that a certain situation is responsible for the outcome of another situation. However, when using cause and effect with the logos method, we must have a credible warrant. And a warrant is essentially a piece of evidence that can connect your cause to your effect. So allow me to explain using this example. Let's say I go to the doctor's at 8 p.m. and I tell my doctor, my stomach hurts, I'm not feeling too well. And my doctor asks me, well, what did you eat? And I go and I show my doctor this receipt from a McDonald's order I had 20 minutes ago, and I tell him, this is what I ate. This must be the reason, right? Although we do have a cause and effect here, the McDonald's could have potentially caused my illness, this warrant is not quite there just yet. Why? Well, it's 8 p.m. and I have eaten other things throughout the day. Therefore, the McDonald's might not be the reason. It could be, but it could also not be. There's just a lot of factors that haven't been accounted yet. Now, let's switch up the scenario a little bit. Let's say that I go to my doctor, same situation, but instead of showing him a receipt from 20 minutes ago, I show him this receipt from 4 weeks ago. And I'm like, well, I had this food that was in my fridge for 4 weeks and I ate it and now I don't feel well. Well, this is a much credible warrant because food that has not been fresh for quite a while is quite obvious that would cause an illness to you. So with cause and effect, make sure that you have a credible warrant. Even though it might appear to be a warrant, make sure that it actually is a warrant. Otherwise, you'll fall victim to logical fallacy, which your audience might catch on to. And lastly, we're going to talk about analogical reasoning, which is any type of thinking that relies upon analogies. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. First, let's start with this analogy. Finding a good man is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Here, what I'm implying is that trying to find a romantic relationship with a man is as hard and as tedious as literally finding a needle in a haystack. This is one example of an analogy. Another example could be, wow, that movie was a roller coaster of emotions. Here, I'm implying that while I watched the movie, I was emotionally feeling many ups and downs, whereas with the roller coaster, you're literally feeling ups and downs. Although the two don't correlate, your audience can get the point. Well, these are the 4 distinctions under logos that I have taught you. If you don't understand, go back to the beginning of the video and listen for these simple factors. With deduction reasoning, remember, it's from the big to the small. With induction reasoning, it's from the small to the big. When you are using cause and effect, make sure you have a credible warrant. Don't fall victim to logical fallacy. And lastly, with analogies, just make sure that your audience will understand and that your analogies make sense. With all of these factors combined, you can definitely enhance your speech and really have your audience agreeing with you without using common sense. You're taking a different approach, which is really awesome. So, thank you for watching my video and good luck with your next speech.